The story begins on the home planet of a fragile alien species known for their gentle nature and unique abilities. Suddenly, their peaceful lives are shattered by a terrifying attack from a powerful alien empire. Bright flashes light up the sky as enemy ships rain destruction upon their cities. Buildings crumble and panic fills the air as families scramble to escape the chaos. Amidst this horror, a young alien girl named Tara stands frozen in fear. She watches helplessly as the soldiers of the enemy capture her parents, taking them away into the dark void of space. Tara's heart races with despair, feeling completely alone in this desperate moment. She knows she must find a way to survive, but hope seems lost. Meanwhile, far away, the human military ship **US Valor **, receives a distress signal. The crew, led by the determined Captain Ryan, hears Tara's cries for help echoing through space. They realize that this might be a chance to make a difference. Despite their initial doubts about intervening, the urgency of the situation pulls them in. The crew understands that the attack could threaten not just the outcast species, but also their own planet, Earth. With a heavy heart and a sense of duty, Captain Ryan orders the ship to respond to the call for help, setting the stage for an unexpected alliance. The fate of the outcast species now rests in the hands of humanity. Tara and her fellow aliens race through the crumbling streets of their city, their hearts pounding with fear and uncertainty. The sound of explosions echoed in the distance, and the air was thick with smoke and ash. They knew they were being hunted. The powerful alien empire had sent soldiers to capture anyone left behind. Tara could hardly believe how quickly their world had turned from peaceful to perilous. As they found refuge in an old, abandoned building, Tara gathered the remaining members of her community. They were a small group, but they shared a bond that ran deep. They were not just friends, they were family. Each of them had lost something precious in the chaos. As they huddled together, the fear in their eyes reflected the despair in Tara's heart. "What are we going to do?" One of the older aliens, Corin asked, his voice shaking. "The Empire is closing in on us. We can't stay here much longer." Tara took a deep breath, trying to calm her racing thoughts. "We have to find a way to survive," she said, her voice steady despite the turmoil around her. "We can't let them take us without a fight." "But how can we fight them?" Another member, Lyra whispered, tears in her eyes. "We're too weak compared to their technology." Tara knew they were right. Their species was not known for their strength or advanced weapons. They had always relied on their ability to hide and adapt, but now that wasn't enough. They needed help, and they needed it fast. A desperate idea formed in her mind. "What if we reach out to humanity?" she proposed. The room fell silent. The idea hung in the air, heavy with both hope and fear. Humanity was known across the galaxy for their unpredictability and resilience. They were fierce warriors, but they were also capable of great compassion. Perhaps if they knew about the outcast species and their plight, they would be willing to help. "But how?" Corin asked, raising an eyebrow. "We don't even know if they will listen to us. We're just a weak species running for our lives." Tara stood up, determination shining in her eyes. "We have to take that risk. If we do nothing, we will be captured or worse. We can send a signal, a plea for help. We have some old communication devices stored away in the basement of this building. We can try to reach out to them." The group exchanged glances, weighing the risks of this bold plan. Finally, Lyra nodded, wiping her tears. "We don't have any other options. We need to try. If we don't, we will surely perish." Tara felt a rush of relief as her friends began to rally around her idea. Together, they descended into the dark basement, their hearts pounding in sync with the urgency of their mission. The air was damp, and the flickering light cast eerie shadows on the walls. Among the dust and cobwebs, they found the old communication devices. They had not been used in years, but Tara hoped they still worked. Tara's hands trembled as she began to assemble the equipment. The others gathered around, offering help and encouragement. They worked together, each moment filled with tension and anticipation. If they could connect with humanity, it could mean the difference between life and death. As Tara fiddled with the controls, her mind raced with thoughts of the future. What would happen if the humans answered their call? Would they be willing to help a species they had never met? She thought of her family, captured and taken away. The pain of losing them fueled her determination. After what felt like an eternity, the device finally powered up. A crackling noise filled the room, and Tara's heart leaped. "We have to send a clear message," she said, focusing all her energy on the task at hand. "We need to make them understand our plight." With a deep breath, Tara began to speak into the device, her voice steady despite the fear swirling within her. "This is Tara of the Outcast species. We are in desperate need of help. Our home is under attack by a powerful alien empire, and we are being hunted down. If anyone can hear this, please, we beg you for assistance. We are not your enemies. We just want to survive." As she finished her message, hope surged within her. They had taken a bold step, risking everything to reach out to the humans. Now, all they could do was wait. The future of their species hung in the balance, and Tara could only pray that someone out there would listen and respond. On the U.S. Valor, a sleek and powerful human military ship, Captain Ryan stood on the bridge, staring at the flickering screen before him. The room was filled with crew members, each working diligently at their stations. Despite the constant hum of technology and the organized chaos of the bridge, Ryan felt a heavy weight in his chest. He had just received a distress signal from the outcast species, and the words echoed in his mind. "We are being hunted. Please help us." Ryan was a seasoned captain, known for his strategic mind and bravery. However, he was also skeptical. He had seen many battles and knew the risks that came with responding to such calls for help. "We can't just rush into unknown territory without knowing what we're dealing with," he said, trying to keep his voice calm but firm. "This could be a trap. The alien empire is powerful, and if we walk into an ambush, we could lose our ship and crew." The crew exchanged glances, sensing the tension in the air. Lieutenant Sarah Ryan's second-in-command, stepped forward. "Captain, I understand your concerns, but we have to consider the consequences of doing nothing. If this species is truly in danger, we could be letting innocent lives perish. Besides, what if the threat they face extends to us? They might be the first line of defense against a larger invasion." Ryan rubbed his chin thoughtfully, considering Sarah's words. The threat of the alien empire was very real, and it could easily turn its sights on humanity. He had heard stories of their brutality, and the thought of their forces attacking Earth sent shivers down his spine. The crew's duty was not just to protect themselves, but also to safeguard their home planet. "Maybe we should think about the glory of a successful mission," another crew member chimed in. "If we help these aliens, we could gain a powerful ally. Imagine the advantage we have against the Empire. Our names would be remembered in history." The idea of glory tugged at Ryan's sense of duty, but he knew there was more at stake than fame. "It's not just about glory," he said, his voice steady. "It's about doing what's right. If we have a chance to save lives, we should take it. But we have to be smart about it." The room fell silent as the crew contemplated their captain's words. Finally, Sarah broke the silence. "I believe we should prepare for a rescue mission. We can approach cautiously, using our cloaking technology to avoid detection. If we arrive unnoticed, we can assess the situation without putting ourselves at risk." Ryan nodded, feeling a sense of relief wash over him. He admired Sarah's quick thinking and leadership. "Okay, let's do it," he said decisively. "Prepare the ship for departure. We'll set a course for the outcast planet, but let's keep our distance until we gather more information. I want everyone alert and ready for anything." As the crew sprang into action, Ryan felt a mix of anxiety and determination. They were taking a big risk, but he believed it was worth it. They might be walking into danger, but they could also be saving lives. The thought of those innocent aliens being hunted down filled him with a sense of urgency. Within minutes, the U.S. Valor was ready for launch. The engines roared to life, and the ship soared into the stars. As they traveled, Ryan couldn't shake the feeling that this mission would change everything. He looked out at the vastness of space, wondering what awaited them on the Outcast planet. While the ship sped through the darkness, Ryan gathered his crew for one last briefing. Listen up, everyone. This is not just another mission. It's a chance to make a real difference. If we succeed, we could gain valuable allies in this fight against the Empire. But we must remain cautious and ready to adapt. Trust your training, trust each other, and we'll come out of this together. As the crew responded with determined nods and cheers, Ryan felt a flicker of hope. They were not just soldiers. They were a family, united in their mission. The thought of rescuing those aliens fueled their resolve, and as the stars stretched out before them, they prepared for the challenges ahead. With a final glance at the planet they were approaching, Ryan felt a wave of determination wash over him. They would do everything in their power to help the outcast species and protect their own world. The mission was set, and there was no turning back. The U.S. Valor was ready to answer the call for help, and Captain Ryan was prepared to lead his crew into the unknown. The U.S. Valor glided through the stars, its engines humming smoothly as Captain Ryan navigated toward the alien planet. A sense of anticipation filled the ship as they approached the coordinates of the distress signal. However, as they descended through the atmosphere, a scene of devastation unfolded before them. The once vibrant cities of the outcast species were now reduced to rubble. Smoke rose from the ruins, and the air was thick with the scent of burning debris. Ryan's heart sank at the sight. "We have to land carefully," he instructed his crew. "We don't know what kind of danger awaits us here." As they touched down, Ryan and his crew prepared to disembark, their hearts racing with both excitement and caution. They knew this was their first contact with the alien species, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Stepping out of the ship, they were met with a desolate landscape and eerie silence. The only sounds were the crackling of fires and the distant rumble of debris settling. Tara and her fellow aliens were hiding nearby, watching the humans from the shadows. They had heard stories about humanity, but had never encountered them. The tales told of fierce warriors and cunning strategists, but the recent attacks from the alien empire had left them wary of any newcomers. As Tara peered through the ruins, her heart raced. The humans looked powerful, but would they be friend or foe? Ryan scanned the surroundings, sensing that they were being watched. "Stay alert, everyone," he warned his crew, his eyes scanning the area for any signs of life. "We need to make contact with the aliens." Just then, Tara stepped forward, her hands raised to show she meant no harm. "Wait, don't come any closer," she shouted, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and determination. She stood beside Corin, who had a protective stance, ready to defend their people. Ryan raised his hands in a similar gesture. "We come in peace," he called out. "We received your distress signal. We want to help." Tara narrowed her eyes, mistrust filling her heart. "Help? Why should we trust you? You could be working with the Empire." Ryan took a step forward, trying to remain calm. "I promise you, we are not your enemy. We are here to save lives, not to take them." But Tara couldn't shake her fear. The memories of her family being captured flashed in her mind, making her defensive. "How do we know you're not lying? We've already lost so much. We can't risk trusting another group that may betray us." Just then, the ground shook as explosions echoed in the distance. Both humans and aliens looked around in alarm. Ryan felt a chill run down his spine. "We need to move. They're coming," he shouted, pointing toward the source of the explosions. Panic spread among Tara's group as they realized the alien empire had returned to finish what they started. "We don't have time for this," Tara yelled, her voice filled with urgency. "If we stay here, We will be captured or killed. Ryan's heart raced as he weighed the situation. We can fight together, he said, his voice firm. If you trust us, we can defend your home. We face the same enemy. We can't let them win. Tara hesitated, her instincts screaming to run, but she could see the determination in Ryan's eyes. For a moment, time stood still as they assessed one another. Both sides were scared, but they shared a common enemy. Fine, Tara finally said, her voice trembling. If you want to help, then we have no choice but to work together. The humans and aliens quickly formed a plan, combining their strengths and knowledge. Ryan felt a surge of hope. If they could unite, they might stand a chance against the Empire. As they prepared for battle, Tara explained their defensive strategies and the areas where the enemy was most likely to strike. Ryan listened intently, respecting her knowledge of the terrain. The tension began to dissipate as they shared ideas and built trust through their shared purpose. Just then, an alarm rang out from the Valor. The crew reported incoming ships from the alien empire, and Ryan's heart raced again. We have to act fast, he shouted. Get ready, everyone. With their new alliance formed, Tara and Ryan stood side by side, ready to face the impending threat. The initial misunderstandings had transformed into a powerful bond forged by necessity. As they braced for the fight ahead, both the humans and aliens understood that together, they stood a better chance against their common foe. With their hearts pounding and adrenaline surging, they prepared for the battle that would determine their fate. With the threat of the alien empire growing nearer, Tara and her fellow aliens knew they had to prepare for battle. The humans from the U.S. Valor had offered their help, but to truly succeed, they needed to train together. As the sun rose over the war-torn landscape, the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation and anxiety. In a makeshift training camp, Ryan gathered his crew and the alien survivors. We have to move fast, he said, looking at the group. The enemy will be here soon, and we need to be ready. Today, we start our training together. Tara stepped forward, her heart racing. We have never fought alongside humans before. We don't know if we can trust each other completely. But if we are to survive, we must try. Ryan nodded, understanding the weight of her words. We'll start with the basics. Let's see what you're capable of, and we can adapt from there. Together, we will become stronger. The training began with some of the human soldiers demonstrating their advanced technology. They showed the aliens how to use cloaking devices that allowed them to become invisible, making it easier to sneak past enemies. The sight of the devices amazed Tara and her friends. This could change everything for us, she exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. Let's give it a try, Ryan said, handing a device to Tara. Just press this button, and you'll be invisible. But remember, it takes practice. As Tara activated the device, she felt a rush of energy. Suddenly, she vanished from sight. The other aliens gasped in surprise. Ryan smiled. Now, Tara, move around and come back. We'll see how well you can use it. Tara took a deep breath and began to walk around the camp, feeling powerful. She laughed in delight as her friends cheered. After a few minutes, she turned off the device and reappeared. That was amazing. We could use this to sneak past the enemy. As the day continued, the training grew more intense. The aliens practiced hand-to-hand combat with the human soldiers. At first, there were some awkward moments. The aliens were not used to fighting with humans, and their techniques were different. But soon, they began to find a rhythm. Ryan and Tara paired up for some of the combat drills. Ryan was impressed by Tara's agility and strength. You have a real talent for this, he said, breathing heavily after a sparring match. Tara smiled shyly, feeling a rush of pride. You're not so bad yourself, she replied, playfully punching his shoulder. Their friendship was growing stronger with every training session, and they started to trust each other more. The emotional bonds deepened during the breaks in training. They shared stories about their lives and families, revealing their hopes and fears. Tara opened up about her lost family, and Ryan shared tales of his crew's adventures in space. They laughed and cried together, finding solace in their shared experiences. Being in a fight like this makes you realize how important it is to have allies, Ryan said one evening as they sat around a small fire. I used to think I could do everything on my own, but that's not true. We need each other. Tara nodded in agreement. I never thought I would fight alongside humans, but now I see we are not so different. We both want to survive, to protect our people. As the days passed, the training sessions turned into fast-paced action exercises filled with excitement and adrenaline. The aliens learned to use human weaponry, adapting their skills to incorporate the advanced technology. Ryan watched as Tara became more confident, her movements sharp and decisive. They practiced in various environments, simulating the battlefield conditions they would face soon. The training culminated in a mock battle where humans and aliens worked together in teams. The sounds of blaster fire and shouts filled the air as they fought against imagined enemies. Tara and Ryan led their teams, showcasing the skills they had learned from each other. During the battle, Ryan saw Tara using the cloaking device to surprise an opponent, her moves fluid and graceful. He shouted encouragement as they fought side by side, feeling a sense of pride in their teamwork. They moved as one, weaving through the chaos and making their way to victory. As the exercise ended, cheers erupted from both sides. They had succeeded, and it felt incredible. Tara turned to Ryan, her eyes shining. We did it. We're ready. Ryan smiled back, feeling the warmth of their newfound friendship. Yes, we are. We can face whatever comes our way together. With their training complete and bonds of trust formed, Tara and the humans stood united, ready to fight against the alien empire that threatened their existence. They knew that together they were stronger and that their alliance would be the key to their survival. The time for battle was approaching, but for now, they savored their shared victory, knowing that they had forged an unbreakable bond in the face of adversity. The day of reckoning had arrived. The atmosphere was heavy with tension as the outcast species prepared for the attack from the invading empire. Tara and her fellow aliens stood on the edge of their ravaged homeland, watching the skies darken with clouds of warships. The roar of engines filled the air as drones and robotic soldiers descended from above, ready to unleash destruction. Tara took a deep breath, her heart pounding. She felt a surge of adrenaline rush through her veins. This is it. We must protect our home, she shouted, her voice strong and resolute. Her people looked to her, their eyes filled with fear, but also with determination. They trusted her, and she would not let them down. As the first wave of drones swooped down, firing laser beams, the aliens sprang into action. Tara led her team into a defensive position, using the skills they had honed during training with the humans. She could see the enemy robots landing, their metallic bodies glinting menacingly in the light. They were cold and unfeeling, programmed to eliminate anything in their path. Take cover, Tara yelled, and her people scattered behind the crumbling walls of their once thriving city. The aliens fired their weapons, their plasma bolts illuminating the dark sky. Each shot found its mark, taking down several drones before they could get close. The sounds of battle echoed all around them. Blaster fire, explosions, and the cries of both sides filled the air. Tara could feel the heat of the blasts on her skin and the ground trembling beneath her feet. The chaos was overwhelming, but she focused on her mission. She had to rally her people and lead them to victory. Suddenly, a massive robotic soldier broke through their defenses. Towering above the aliens, its armor was thick and strong. It raised its weapon, preparing to fire at Tara and her team. Without hesitation, she jumped into action. "Follow me," she shouted, her voice filled with courage. With a fierce determination, Tara ran toward the giant robot. She knew that if she could distract it, her people could find a way to take it down. She ducked and weaved, dodging its blasts. Tara felt alive, her heart racing, as she closed the distance between them. She could see the glowing red eye of the robot tracking her, but she refused to back down. With a sudden burst of energy, Tara leaped into the air, using her cloaking device to become momentarily invisible. The robot fired wildly, missing her completely. Tara landed gracefully behind it, her weapon aimed and ready. "Now, hit it from the sides," she yelled to her fellow aliens. At her command, her team launched a coordinated attack. Plasma bolts struck the robot from all directions, and its metal body began to shake and smoke. With one final push, Tara fired her weapon, hitting the robot's weak spot. It collapsed to the ground with a deafening crash, and her people erupted in cheers. But the battle was far from over. The sky darkened further as more ships arrived, dropping additional waves of drones and robots. Tara's heart sank as she saw the enemy reinforcements. She knew they needed a plan fast. "Form up. We have to protect the civilians," Tara called out, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. She led her team to the nearby shelters, making sure everyone was accounted for. As they moved, Tara felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. The lives of her people depended on her leadership. Just then, a familiar voice crackled over the comms. It was Captain Ryan from the U.S. Valor. "Tara, we're coming in. Hold your position and give us a signal when you're ready." Tara felt a rush of hope. "We'll hold them off as long as we can," she replied, determination shining in her eyes. She rallied her people, inspiring them to fight harder. "We are not alone. The humans are coming to help us." The battle raged on, with Tara and her team pushing back against the invaders. They fought fiercely, using every tactic they had learned. The clash of metal and the sound of explosions filled the air as they defended their home. As the humans from the U.S. Valor swooped in, their warships unleashed a rain of fire upon the enemy forces. Orbital strikes lit up the sky, creating a stunning display of light and power. Tara watched in awe as the humans fought alongside them, proving that their alliance was strong and true. "Keep fighting," Tara shouted, feeling a surge of hope as the tide began to turn. With the humans at their side, they launched a counterattack, driving back the Empire's forces. The teamwork between the aliens and humans became a beautiful dance of strategy and bravery. Amidst the chaos, Tara's courage shone brighter than ever. She led her people, not just as a commander, but as a symbol of hope. Together, they stood against the darkness that threatened to engulf their world. As the battle continued, Tara knew that they would fight until the very end, united against a common enemy. They would protect their home, their way of life, and each other, no matter the cost. The Empire had struck back, but Tara and her people were ready to rise to the challenge. The climactic battle reached a fever pitch as Tara and her allies fought fiercely against the invading Empire. Explosions filled the air, and smoke choked the sky as drones and robotic soldiers clashed with Tara's people and the brave soldiers of the U.S. Valor. The sound of blasters firing and the cries of warriors echoed all around, creating a chaotic symphony of war. Amid the turmoil, Tara fought alongside her mentor, Bonner. He was a wise and strong leader, respected by all. Tara had learned so much from him, not just about fighting, but about bravery and sacrifice. As they pushed forward, Tara could see Bonner moving with determination, inspiring those around him to keep fighting despite the odds stacked against them. Suddenly, the ground shook violently as an enormous explosion erupted nearby. The enemy forces had launched a heavy attack, and Tara felt the impact in her bones. She quickly turned to Bonner, her heart racing. "We need to regroup," she shouted, but Bonner was already formulating a plan. "We need to create a distraction," Bonner yelled back, his eyes fierce with resolve. "If we can draw their fire, we might just give the others a chance to push forward." Tara could see the determination in his eyes, but she also felt a wave of dread wash over her. "No, you can't," she pleaded, but Bonner shook his head. "I must do this, Tara. You are the future. You must lead them." He placed a hand on her shoulder, giving her strength. "Trust in yourself. You are ready." Tara felt tears prick her eyes, but she nodded, understanding the gravity of the moment. With a deep breath, Bonner dashed toward the enemy lines, drawing their attention. He fired his weapon into the throng of drones and robots, creating chaos. Tara watched in horror as drones turned their focus on him, lasers firing and explosions lighting up the sky. The sight was agonizing, but Tara knew that Bonner was making the ultimate sacrifice for their freedom. Bonner? No, she screamed, but her voice was drowned out by the noise of battle. The scene felt surreal, like it was happening in slow motion. Bonner continued to fight valiantly, holding off the enemy long enough for Tara and the others to regroup. His courage inspired them, but it also filled Tara's heart with fear and sadness. Finally, the unthinkable happened. A powerful explosion engulfed Bonner, and the lights swallowed him whole. Tara's heart shattered. She dropped to her knees, her eyes wide with disbelief and grief. "Bonner," she cried, the pain overwhelming her. In that moment, she felt a part of herself die. The reality of their situation hit her hard, and the weight of their fight felt heavier than ever. Meanwhile, aboard the U.S. Valor, Captain Ryan watched the events unfold with a sinking heart. He had come to respect Bonner and the sacrifices he made for his people. The loss of such a brave warrior sent shockwaves through his crew. "We can't let his sacrifice be in vain," Ryan shouted, rallying his soldiers. "We fight for Bonner and for the future of both our species." The crew nodded, filled with a renewed sense of purpose. They were fighting not just for survival, but to honor the memory of a true hero. The bond between humans and Tara's people deepened in that moment of loss. They were in this together, and they would not back down. Fueled by grief and determination, Ryan led the charge against the oppressive forces. The humans moved with a newfound urgency, their hearts pounding in sync with Tara's. They pushed forward, firing at the drones and robots with relentless fury. Every blast was a tribute to Bonner's bravery. Tara rose from the ground, wiping her tears away. She felt Bonner's spirit with her, driving her forward. "For Bonner," she shouted, her voice strong and unwavering. The others echoed her cry, their voices merging into a powerful battle cry that rang through the battlefield. As they fought, Tara found herself leading the charge, her heart pounding with a mix of grief and determination. She recalled everything Bonner had taught her about courage, sacrifice, and fighting for what was right. With every enemy they took down, Tara felt Bonner's presence guiding her, giving her the strength to push through the pain. The tide of battle shifted. They moved as one, humans and aliens fighting side by side, motivated by loss, but united by hope. With each passing moment, they became more than just allies. They became family. They fought not only for their survival, but for the honor of those they had lost. Tara knew that Bonner's sacrifice would forever change her. It ignited a fire within her, one that would not be extinguished. She would fight for her people, for Bonner's memory, and for a future where they could live in peace. As the battle raged on, Tara felt the weight of her loss, but she also felt the power of unity and the strength of their resolve. Together, they would triumph over the darkness that threatened to consume them. As the battle raged on, the fate of both the alien species and the humans hung in the balance. The invading Empire's forces were relentless, sending wave after wave of drones and robotic soldiers against them. Tara, now filled with a deep sense of purpose and resolve, gathered the remaining soldiers from both their races. She stood at the front of the makeshift command center, determined to forge a united front against the enemy. "Listen up," Tara shouted, her voice echoing through the chaos. "This is our last chance. We have to combine our strengths if we want to survive. We have technology that can help us outsmart the enemy, but we must work together." The room was filled with a mix of alien soldiers and human troops, each looking at her with determination. They were tired, but they knew they had to keep fighting. Captain Ryan stepped forward, nodding in agreement. "Tara's right. We have cloaking technology that can make us invisible to the enemy. If we coordinate our attacks and strike when they least expect it, we can turn the tide of this battle." His eyes were fierce, filled with the determination to protect his crew and their new allies. He knew that every moment counted. With renewed purpose, Tara and Ryan outlined their plan. They would use the cloaking devices to mask their movements and create diversions. The humans would lead the charge, while the alien forces would flank the enemy. The plan was risky, but they knew it was their best shot at victory. As they prepared, a sense of camaraderie began to blossom between the two groups. In the heat of battle, they worked seamlessly together. The humans activated their cloaking technology, and the alien soldiers watched in awe as they became nearly invisible. Tara felt a rush of excitement. This was it. They were no longer just a group of desperate fighters. They were a united force. The moment they launched their attack, the enemy was caught off guard. Drones flew overhead, scanning for targets, but the cloaked soldiers moved silently through the shadows. Tara's heart raced as she led her team, feeling the adrenaline pumping through her veins. Together, they struck swiftly, taking out the enemy positions one by one. Explosions lit up the sky as they fought with everything they had. Tara's determination fueled her as she dodged enemy fire, her focus sharp. Every blast from her weapon felt like a tribute to Bonner's sacrifice. She remembered his words about bravery and unity, and they pushed her forward. The battle intensified as the humans and aliens began to work in perfect harmony. A human soldier would create a distraction, drawing the enemy's attention, while an alien warrior would flank them from the side, taking advantage of the opening. They moved as a single unit, showcasing the power of their combined forces. "Now," Ryan shouted as he signaled for the next phase of their plan. The cloaking devices flickered off, revealing their positions just as the enemy seemed to regain control. With the element of surprise still in their favor, they unleashed a barrage of firepower. Tara and Ryan fought side by side, their movements synchronized like a well-rehearsed dance. As the battle raged on, they encountered fierce resistance from the Empire's robotic soldiers. The clanking of metal and the sound of lasers echoed in the air. Tara felt her heart race as she faced a particularly large robot. It was equipped with heavy armor and advanced weapons. She knew she had to find a way to defeat it. "Ryan, I need cover," she yelled as she darted toward the robot, her weapon at the ready. Ryan fired at the robot, distracting it just long enough for Tara to get close. With a determined look, she jumped onto its back and used her skills to disable its main weapon. The robot whirred and shook, trying to throw her off, but she held on tight. With a final burst of effort, Tara managed to disable the robot. It crashed to the ground with a loud thud, and the soldiers around her cheered. The victory was small, but it boosted morale and showed that they could overcome any challenge together. As they fought, the tide of battle shifted in their favor. The Empire's forces began to falter, overwhelmed by the teamwork and resilience of the humans and aliens. One by one, the enemy drones fell, and cheers erupted from the combined forces. The underdogs were fighting back and winning. In that moment, Tara felt a sense of hope blossoming within her. They were no longer just two separate species fighting for survival. They had become a family, united in purpose. The strength of their alliance shone brightly, proving that even the weakest could triumph over the strongest when they stood together. As the last of the enemy forces retreated, Tara and Ryan exchanged triumphant glances. The battle was not just a victory over the Empire. It was a testament to the power of unity and cooperation. They had forged a bond that would last, paving the way for a brighter future for both their races. Together, they had turned the tide and created a new beginning. After the fierce battle, the dust began to settle over the war-torn landscape. The invading empire had been defeated, and victory was finally theirs. Tara stood with Captain Ryan amidst the remnants of the battlefield, feeling a mix of relief and disbelief. They had fought so hard, and now they were free. The outcast species could finally find refuge with the humans, who had become their allies. As the last of the enemy ships flooded into the dark reaches of space, Tara felt tears of joy welling up in her eyes. She looked around at her people, who were helping the injured and celebrating their newfound freedom. They had been oppressed for so long, treated as weak and unworthy. But now, they had proven themselves. They had stood side by side with the humans and fought bravely. "Look at them," Tara said, her voice filled with emotion. "We did it, Ryan. We're safe." Ryan smiled back, his heart swelling with pride. "Yes, we did. This victory is just the beginning for both our peoples. Together, we can build a better future." With the battle behind them, Tara and Ryan knew it was time to discuss what would come next. They moved to a quiet spot away from the noise of the celebration, where they could talk without interruption. The sun began to rise, casting a golden light over the planet, symbolizing a new dawn for everyone. "Tara," Ryan began, "we need to talk about how to strengthen our alliance. Your people deserve to have a place in this galaxy, and I want to help make that happen." He looked at her earnestly, knowing how much this meant to both of them. Tara nodded, her heart racing at the thought. "We have so much to offer. Our technology, our skills, and our knowledge of the universe. Together, we can create a united front against any future threats." As they spoke, Tara felt a deep sense of hope. She had once thought her species would never find acceptance, that they would always be seen as outcasts. But now, she could see a different future, one filled with possibilities. They could work together, learning from each other and growing stronger as a united force. "I know it won't be easy," Ryan added. "There will be challenges ahead, and some may still see your people as weak. But we can change their minds by showing them how strong we are together." Tara appreciated Ryan's honesty. She knew they had to confront skepticism and fear. But she also felt empowered by their victory. "I'm ready for whatever comes next. My people have faced so much already. We won't back down again." As the two of them talked about their plans, more members of the alien species began to gather around them. They were curious and excited, eager to hear what the future would hold. Tara took a deep breath and addressed her people, her voice steady and confident. "Today marks a new beginning for us all. We are no longer alone. We have allies who believe in us. Together with the humans, we will build a new home where everyone is accepted and valued. No one will ever call us weak again." Cheers erupted from her fellow aliens, their spirits lifted by her words. They had endured so much pain and suffering, but now they felt a spark of hope. They looked to the humans, who stood beside them, offering support and encouragement. It was a beautiful moment, one filled with unity and strength. Ryan stepped forward to join Tara, his presence reassuring. "Let's celebrate this victory, but let's also prepare for the future. We'll establish a council where humans and aliens can work together to address any issues and create a strong bond." The crowd nodded, feeling inspired by their leaders. The idea of a council that represented both species filled them with hope. They could work together, sharing ideas and building trust. Tara could see a vision of a thriving community where no one felt like an outcast. As the sun continued to rise, its light shining brightly over the landscape, Tara and Ryan stood side by side, looking out at their united people. The war was over, but the real work was just beginning. They were determined to ensure that both species could coexist peacefully and build a brighter future. In the days that followed, Tara and Ryan began to put their plans into action. They organized meetings between humans and aliens where they shared stories, ideas, and dreams. They celebrated their cultures, learning from each other, and growing closer with each passing day. The themes of good versus evil and the power of cooperation resonated strongly in their new alliance. They had faced a common enemy and emerged victorious, not just as individuals, but as a united front. Together, they had proven that even the most unlikely of allies could achieve great things when they worked together. As they continued to build their alliance, Tara felt a profound sense of satisfaction and hope. They had created a new dawn, one filled with promise and potential. The outcast species had finally found their place in the galaxy, and together with humanity, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead.